Hello, it's Eden. So, let's talk about memory. Our memory is used to serve one primary function. It is to store and catalogue the information we perceive in our day-to-day lives so that we may retrieve and use it when needed. Our memory supports us in our learning and our growth as an individual, whether it be romantically, academically, or personally. And other neat stuff that memory does is retain important information like the location of your home, your friend's mobile, or the faces and quirks of the people you are close to. It also sorts and prioritizes any sequence of actions that we need to take when performing a task, like looking both ways before we cross a road, or putting our car in the right gear before we take off. And also, one other thing that I can think of is our memory can sort and place information tidbits we hear, perceive, or feel to form cohesive arguments that support our beliefs and our core values. Like everybody who ever existed on the planet ever, the health of our memory does decline as we age. And there are also illnesses, injuries, and medications and substances that can really hinder our ability to access specific information in our memory. So, today I'm going to break down a few behaviours that you can add to your learning style for better memory retention. And I'll probably timestamp the tips in the description, So these also, just as a disclaimer, these tips are given under the assumption that you have a healthy memory already and a healthy mind, and that you are able to perform up to standard with little to no external negative influences. If you do not feel that you have a good memory or your brain is up to code if you're perhaps suffering from an illness, an ailment, or substance abuse that impairs your memory, these might not work for you. Personally speaking, they have helped me. I have a very leaky memory. So, I've said that so many times before, haven't I? But I have a very leaky memory, so these were really great ways of teaching myself to remember good. So, the first tip is information chunking. If you're new to learning information that you need to retain, like studying a big topic for a test, it helps to break the task up into smaller blocks. So, learning for 10 minutes, taking a break for 2 minutes, and then learning again for 10 minutes is a really great way of learning small amounts of information quickly. It's actually easier for your brain to access it if you learn it in smaller time frames than you do learning in an hour or 2 hour study session. Go figure. So there you go. As a bonus tip, I nominated the time of 10 minutes because we actually tend to lose interest in the task we're working on at around the 10-minute mark. So powering through for 10 minutes, getting up and walking around, rewarding yourself with 5 minutes of break time is actually better for you than sitting and focusing for an hour or 2 hours. Tip 2, work with your brain. Our brains behave differently at different times of the day. So writing an essay that's due the next day at midnight might not be such a brilliant idea after all. And yeah, we've all been there. Generally speaking, our brains recall specific information better in the mornings and are good at combining new information with existing knowledge in the afternoon. If you are planning on writing a big, crazy, important essay for school, university, or work, spend the afternoon before you write it reading first. So, read up all about the topic as much as you can in small chunks, and then get a good night's sleep. The next day, you will wake up feeling refreshed. Hopefully, if you got a good night's sleep, you will feel refreshed and you'll be able to attack that essay and formulate those sentences much easier than you would if you had sat down the afternoon before with all the textbooks around you going, oh my God, how am I going to write this stupid assignment? Oops. So here is an example of things that you can do during the day according to what time of day it is. Remember that there is a 2 to 3 hour variance on these time frames depending on if you are a morning person or a night person. So if you like to wake up late or early in the morning. So in the morning, you can do analytical work like test reviews, you can do problem solving, you can do report writing, you can do math work, you can do analytical work that requires you to construct logical statements and arguments and that sort of thing. Around midday is a great time to have a break and do really mundane tasks. So if you have to file, you can do filing. You can do errands, really boring errands during this time of day. You can listen to music, or you can paint, or you could really just do things that don't require a lot of your attention. And in the afternoon, you can do more analytical and more creative things, such as reading or studying literature, or things where you need to absorb a lot of information. So if you like to watch DIY videos or cooking videos and that sort of stuff, that's a great time. The afternoon is a great time to absorb all that stuff, because then not only are you learning about the thing that you like, you're also learning visually, so it's going to make it twice as easy to learn. Interestingly enough, your brain cycles between hemispheres every 90 minutes. So it's why you always feel the urge to move around after half an hour or so of really focused work. So if you're working on a report or something that requires you to construct complex thoughts using logic and reasoning, after 90 minutes, switch to a task that requires you to use your imagination, your emotions, and your intuition. So that's like drawing or listening to music or journaling, you know. So that's a really fun tip there that I just kind of threw in, I guess. Tip 3, look upward and to the left if you're trying to remember something. A popular theory in neuro-linguistic programming when it comes to memory retrieval is that it's not just about what you're trying to remember. I'm going to put up the hemispheres of things, and you'll see that now on screen, yay. I'll quickly go through it now, obviously. So when it comes to what direction you can look in when trying to construct or remember something, the basics are, if you look up and to the left, you can remember something visual. If you look forward and to the left, you can remember sound. And if you look down and to the left, you can access your internal dialogue, which is your emotions plus any memories on top of that. If you are constructing, you look up and to the right for constructing a visual. If you're constructing sound, you look forward and to the right. And if you are constructing a feeling, you look down and to the right. Looking to the right is better for forming things, like forming the perfect sentence to say. Tip 4 is another neuro-linguistic programming cheat. Essentially, it instructs your subconscious to retrieve the information that you're looking for in your memory banks. It's on the tip of your tongue, but you just can't access the information. What was the name of my friend's cat? You know what? I'll remember it in a moment. And that's the tip. Essentially, if you are trying to remember the name of your friend's cat, Ellie is the name of her cat. That cat hates me. All cats love me, but this cat hates me for some reason. If you are struggling to find information, to retrieve information from your brain, telling your brain that you will remember it and not to freak and not to worry. So telling it gently, you know what, I'll remember in a moment. I'll remember it soon. Don't worry. Lets your brain know, that's the piece of information I want. Please go and get it for me. And you can do it at your own leisure. And pretty soon you'll remember it. It's pretty cool, huh? On top of this as well is if you use the same phrasing, you'll anchor the phrase in your brain to make it faster for your brain to perform the pattern of retrieving the information. Sometimes you can also pair it with something physical, like you can squeeze your hands, you can stretch your neck, or you tap your temple. That's a physical cue, and the physical cue along with the mental cue is really great at training your brain to do the things that you want it to do quickly. That essentially is neuro-linguistic programming, or NLP, and it's crazy fun pseudoscience, and remind me to go down that rabbit hole with you another day. Tip 5, sit up straight. Sitting up straight allows for oxygenated blood to flow freely into and through your brain. Sitting with a slouch while learning especially restricts the blood vessels and makes it harder to pump your awesome blood through. It's kind of like kinking a hose while it's running. Sit up straight. Sit up straight. Sit up straight, Sonny. Tip 6. Get the right vitamins in your body for healthy cognitive function. Eat fatty fish like salmon. It's got EPA and DHA, very good for healthy brain function. Other foods, boom, here's a bunch of foods, nom 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 nom, eat all of them. Really good brain food. Hey, it's good brain food, you know, it's good brain food. It is actually good brain food. So yes. Also, other vitamins. There are also vitamins out there other than fish oil that really help regulate brain function, which are B12, vitamin A, iodine, thiamine, also known as B1, vitamin C, calcium, magnesium, and zinc. I mean, look, all vitamins are great. These are just the ones that really do help a lot with our brain function. Vitamin D is also another one that we need, and make sure you get your daily D every day. Just forget I said that. Tip 7. Move around more. Make sure you're getting enough exercise. Even just a walk around the block helps. That keeps your blood pumping to your brain and actually, equally enough, gives your brain space and time to consider and consolidate any new information that it's learned. So it's really good just to go for a walk, get away from whatever it is you're learning or studying or doing or writing, and getting that space is so important because it helps your brain consolidate and organize all that information. It's much easier to retrieve it. So if you have to sit down to a task that requires your full concentration, take 5 minutes before you do to move around and get your heart racing. You don't even have to do much. Like, I step up and down off of a stool, and that 3 minutes, and that does me, because that raises your heart rate up just a little bit, and that is enough that you will need to then sit down now with plenty of blood in your brain and focus. Tip 8. This is the last one. Sleep. Sleep. 5 hours of sleep impairs our motor and memory function to the point where it's the essential equivalent of drinking 4 beers before doing anything. So 5 hours sleep, that's it. A poor night's sleep means that your brain will just not work properly the next day. It will not have the energy it needs to be able to catalog the information that it's learning during the day. You know, memory consolidation. Memory consolidation happens during REM sleep, during the sleep where you dream. Now, you may not dream, but just because you don't dream, it doesn't mean that you don't enter REM sleep. Everybody enters REM sleep when they sleep. Some people can remember their dreams, others can't. I'm a little hit and miss. Sometimes I can have really vivid dreams, and then sometimes I will just go months without dreaming. So, you, as a general rule of average, do your very best to get at least 7.5 hours of sleep a night. If you can't do this, you can try power napping, but just be very careful, because sleeping during the day does really throw out your circadian sleep cycles, your circadian rhythms. That's essentially, it's nighttime, I'm going to sleep. It's daytime, I'm going to stay awake. So sleeping during the day can actually really throw those rhythms out. So be careful with power napping. So those are all my tips. As a last plug, I have a playlist on my channel named Active Learning, and I believe it was called Memory Consolidation. I have 2 playlists, and they are essentially about an hour and a half's worth of music, classical music, that in the Active Learning playlist fires up your brain and gets it really thinking and focusing on the tasks that you need to do. And in the Memory Consolidation playlist is really good for consolidating memory and learning and putting new information in your brain. They're really handy playlists. I use them a lot, so I hope you do too. So that's all I have to say for today. I hope you enjoyed my video. On behalf of me, Bender, I would like to thank you for joining me today on my channel and for my video. Oh yeah, right. Like, share, subscribe. Tell me about your brain and the things that you do to help your brain remember good. I'm very interested in this. So do that down in the comments below. On behalf of me, Eden, thank you for being here with me today, and I'll see you in the next video. Ta-ta!